It's 1 minute past 8. It's the 14th of September. It's Sunday night. It's DPMF Live, back with another fat one. Tonight's episode is all about MegaBits, a DPMF live update with the boys, as ever, Dan the Man, Live Free, Mike, and Wicked Wes. Bringing you everything we know about crypto. It might be wrong, it might be right, who knows? But hey, we give it a shot.
Welcome to DPMF Live. Now meet our hosts.
If you like what you hear, please like, please share the space. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, which Raylene is doing an awesome job with. Please go and listen back to many of our other episodes. 86 episodes of pure entertainment and joy just for you, our XRPL community. Dan, welcome. You're going to fill us in with the markets.
A quick one on the markets. Ranked at number one, Bitcoin sitting at $115,427, up 3.8% on the 7 day. Ranked at number two is Ethereum, sitting at $4,604. Still hasn't bypassed that $5,000 mark. It's up 7.4% on the 7 day. Our XRP is ranked at number three, sitting at $3.03. I'm actually surprised it's held over there a little bit longer than I'd anticipated. I was watching it the other day. It's up 6.1% on the 7 day. Tether is ranked at number four. Ranked at number five is Solana, sitting at $244. That's actually up 20.7% on the 7 day. So it's been a good week for Solana. Binance BNB ranked at number six is sitting at $926, up 5.8% on the 7 day. Ranked at number seven is USDC. Ranked at number eight is Dogecoin, sitting at 27 cents. That is also up 25.4% on the 7 day. Ranked at number nine is Tron at 34 cents, up 5% on the 7 day. And finally, ranked at number 10 is Cardano ADA, which is at 88 cents, sitting at 7.6% up on the 7 day.
Awesome. And guess which cryptocurrency is lying 5,445?
What rank? Sorry, 5,445.
5,045, yeah. According to a live coin watch.
That's XDX, isn't it?
Yeah. You should know that straight away.
I dig. And let me tell you why. I know there's about, I think there's over 1 million change or something like that now. It's like 11 million assets.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot. And obviously a lot are not here anymore. Most of them went in 2022 to 2023. So I looked at the ranking when with ours, and I was like, we're actually in the, in the top 1%, weirdly on the overall market of everything. So I was like, that's pretty cool. So now I've got to tighten it.
I'm not paid to shill live coin watch, but it's actually pretty good. The only one I can't find on here at the minute though is XIO. Is it not on live coin watch?
It's not, no. It's not on there. RDX, I think, is on there. But XIO, we never put it on. Never applied for it, to be honest. We didn't need to. Everything was so quiet. It takes away the excitement of when we say it's on there. No, Well, yeah, when things ramp up, we'll be like, oh yeah, we're on live coin watch now. Did you not know? Yeah.
Speaking of XIO, tonight's show is brought to you by Fuzion XIO, the sickest and baddest place to mint, sell and buy your NFTs. It's got its very own validation process, which is unique to the XRPL. Get yourself on there, have a look, because it's fat. XRP MegaBits. Fill us in a bit then, Dan. What's going on?
Yeah, sure. So this is a bit of a team effort actually, with DPMF Labs, mainly with the NFT lab. The artist as well actually is in the audience. Hello, Alejandro. So what happened is a few months ago, we obviously knew we was going to come to a stage where, technologically with Fuzion, we would be able to, display 3D, files, and then apply augmented reality. And wanted to use DPMF Labs to explore ways in how we could do that. And speaking with the NFT lab, Alejandro gave some suggestions on some stuff that we could do. Now, at the time when this started, the DNFT capability, XLS 46, I believe, the protocol, wasn't actually live. It was in its sort of nascency stage, being ready to be voted on. So it wasn't actually to do with DNFTs. It wasn't going to be a DNFT kind of NFT program, if you like. Spoke to the artist Alejandro and said, look, could you do a certain design such as this? We'll probably look at releasing a lot of different characters that do a few different things. And concurrently to that, we was developing Fuzion up in the background. So for those that don't know, Fuzion has a capability to mint 3D files now as NFTs. They are already viewable. Anyone can go on there now and apply a 3D file. I know 666 Memecoin are also doing that, who are also down in the audience. They've been exploring it recently. There's a couple of things that we have coming in the future to sort of finalize preparation. One of them is turning on the AR capability, augmented reality. So that means these 3D files. So it's not just the NFTs that we create, but the NFTs that anyone creates in 3D will be viewable in augmented reality. So anyone can jump on and create their own collection, or perhaps a unique use case with NFTs they might want in 3D. They will be able to do that. Now, I know the panel here as well. To rewind a little bit more, we have a metadata edition called Metaconfig, Metaverse configuration, we call it, which relates to pulling in 3D objects into 3D ecosystems. That is applied on the Create NFT section. That is live now as well, which is used for testing at the moment, and will be applied with this program going forward as well. So there'll be additional metadata to identify what the file is to then pull into 3D ecosystems. So all these steps we've been developing recently on Fuzion relate to the XRP MegaBits campaign, which I'll come on to shortly, and as well our own sort of core NFT program, which we've been working on for years, the AVA program. The technology is very similar. The AVA program is slightly more advanced. I say slightly more, it is a lot more advanced, but it's a lot more limited in terms of the AVA characters. With XRP MegaBits, this was we never had a sort of signature NFT program. So years ago when the NFT market was going crazy, there was, like Expect to have their Expector agents. X-Punks had their punks, derivative from other chains. And there was a few other derivatives than that. We never had our own signature sort of JPEG PNG file NFT that was a representation of what we wanted to do. And that's what I wanted to do with XRP MegaBits, to sort of make it a signature NFT collection, one that we would be promoting constantly, one that we would use the logo and the NFTs themselves as a branding for what we do, because it's a combination of innovations. And what do I mean by that? It's more complex to build out this capability. It's more complex to build this capability because you can't just create a platform and then all of a sudden make 3D NFTs, especially that are viewable in AR. there's a lot of different moving development parts to it. So wanted to make sure that we plug them in, and then have this as our own signature kind of NFT program. And then this would be the one that we would have. So it's going to be one to stay. There's a lot of, characters coming. We've revealed very few characters. There's been some glimpses, but there's actually a hell of a lot, and the NFT lab have been working really hard on it, including when I was in Africa, and they're working on it concurrently. So yeah, these NFTs will be fully 3D viewable. There's a video in the Jumbotron. I think it has a link to the website, which has an example video of what they'll look like, and then you can actually connect to Fuzion, and we've put a test file up so you can rotate and look around the actual character. So fully viewable in 3D at every angle. They will also be viewable in augmented reality, which I was just touching on. And just to remind that anyone who creates a file on there, they will automatically be viewable in augmented reality when we turn that feature on. Quite pertinent for some other stuff we have coming in the future. They originally were, the XRP MegaBits was not originally going to be a DNFT capability, because we actually started preparing for it before that protocol came online. I was actually talking with LilithMoonXStar, who's up here. He actually convinced me that we should add that as a capability to.
You guys can take me later.
Yeah, I didn't want the first batch to be mutable, but he did convince me there is a lot of flexibility with DNFTs for a lot of different reasons, a lot more than most will understand in the audience. And I don't mean to sort of insult your intelligence, but with DNFTs you can bend and do an awful lot. And Live3 highlighted that to me, and I said, you know what? In the end, he sort of twisted my arm. I said, you know what? You're right. So that's why it hasn't come on yet, because we're just going to add the DNFT flag to make them mutable, and then we'll launch them. So yeah, thank you, Live3. You probably, made a right call there. So hat off to you. You do deserve that little nugget. The slowest applause ever. So there's
It took me a while to find the damn soundboard.
So there's going to be a series of characters and a limited amount of each character. We will be rewarding people who own each character, especially if they own the same number, the collection number. They will be rewarded sort of limited edition characters, so there'll be more characters to earn. There are going to be rewards involved in it. I haven't fully discussed this with some of the panel and Live3, but a similar technology to what we have with the we can do stuff like that with collectible holders, if you like, as a similar technology. So we'll be looking at doing something like that. With the metaconfig capability, when we launch our space in the Expectaverse, this is going to be one of the NFT program. One of them, it's not the only one, but this will be one of them where we'll be testing to pull into 3D ecosystems. And as these 3D NFTs evolve, we actually have plans to make them into more advanced sort of characters. So at the moment they'll start as statues. There's going to be all kinds of different ones, and then we'll evolve them so much so where we have them moving around and stuff like that.
So Dan, am I right in thinking that these would be the only 3D NFTs that are actually on the XRPL at the moment? So it's quite exclusive.
No, there is a few other NFTs already out there. I think Cafe launched XRP Cafe launched the first one for a game, but I never checked the file. So I don't know if it was actually viewable or it was a video. I actually don't know. So if I'm honest, I haven't been looking around to see who else is doing it. I've just been sort of focused on us at the core. But just to be clear, so everyone understands, when you view this NFT on Fuzion, you will be able to spin the camera to look around it. You can zoom in and out at your free will, because you own the 3D. You own that file essentially. That's relatable to the Ava program as well going forward. But for XRP MegaBits, when you own that character, you will own that file. So you can view around it. I'm not exactly sure exactly who else has done that, because if I'm honest, I haven't been looking. So I don't mean to, if someone else is doing it, I don't want to shoot them down. It's just I haven't been looking.
What would you not consider the avatars walking around, let's say, in the Expectorverse or in Versex? Wouldn't you consider those 3D NFTs?
Well, if you own the NFT and the NFT is pulled into that ecosystem, then I would, yes. In that instance,
Okay.
I would, yes.
Okay.
Then you would own it, yeah.
Okay.
So an example would be, you play a lot of video games, or I don't know if you do play a lot of video games. I don't play video games like I used to. But when you run around and you play Wes does actually. Yeah, he's not. Wes is gone. I think he's buggered off.
He just showed up. I just invited him to speak, so we can let the man protect himself.
Yeah. So one thing years and years ago, anyone who's played I'm trying to think of a good example of a game. Let's say Ghost Recon. I think there'd be a lot of cool people who might play Ghost Recon. When you run around as a character, your character's in the game. It's tied to the game. There's no way to pull that character out, and it's sort of centralized to that game. And a vision I had going forward, which I knew would be a bit of a bold one, would be in the end to be able to produce characters which you can pull into other 3D ecosystems. Because then you have interoperability between 3D ecosystems where you can use a character or an avatar in one game and then pull it into another. This is not actually, it's not something that's actually being pursued too much. It's not normal. You actually need blockchain technology specifically to do it, because without blockchain technology, you can't validate or specifically limit the amount of characters. Like the example I was talking about earlier, playing, Ghost Recon. You run around as a character. Everyone who plays that game is that exact same character. Even though you customize it, and you can't, once that game is finished, you can't ever be that character again. So, sort of over the next decade, I would say that we probably be at a stage where we produce characters that could last for centuries, for as long as the network is alive, because you'll be able to pull them into other, because it's not owned by the game. The character isn't in the game anymore. It's in your wallet, and you're connecting with your wallet to pull that character into the game. Does that make sense, or did I just completely brain fog you?
That makes sense.
Oh, good. Okay, good. I was waiting for a tumbleweed to come by and just write down what you're talking about. So yeah, XRP MegaBits is a extension of that, what we do. I want to use it as a signature NFT, sort of collection of DPMF, because it does involve different departments. It involves DPMF labs. Obviously the artist here from the NFT lab as well. Big shout out to you. He's done fantastic work. It also involves developers from Fuzion. It also involves some developers from XD2, not many, but some. So it means the whole project is a culmination of developments and advancements in technology. And I think this is the kind of NFT program I want to have, that's one that represents DPMF, and that's XRP MegaBits, with a no limit sort of no limit potential with where we'll go with these, and that's thanks to XLS 46. There really is no limit. The idea was to go for something similar to a sort of Pokemon style move going forward. The video you'll see in the Jumbotron is the XRP Megabit in the glass case, which is a special edition one. But majority of them are on the podiums, the characters, and some of the characters, they look absolutely fantastic. The designs of them are really, really fantastic. There's also some seasonal ones coming as well, which are going to look really good.
So if you've got any questions for Dan in the audience and you'd like to come up, just put your hands up, we'll get you up, or write a comment in the comments box. We love the community to get involved and have a little chat with us. Absolutely fine. Please like and share the space as per previous. Dan, where am I going to be able to get these megabits? I assume they're on Fuzion. Is it only on Fuzion?
So once I finished, I know I was talking to you guys earlier on a call. We nearly turned on the AR tech yesterday. So it's literally any day. We'll whack that on. Then I'm going to add the DNFT flag, and then it's all systems go, and we'll start rolling these out. So I don't have a time limit other than, you're talking days to weeks is our target. to launch these.
And is there like a limited supply? Sorry, forgive me, I'm not sure if you mentioned that.
There will be. So there'll be a limited supply of each character. I don't want to go too much into pricing, but what I can say is, and live free, don't kick me in the arse later because I know you're part of the tokenomics, so but what I want to do is I want to make sure that these are incredibly affordable because so people can collect them all, because collecting them means you get the limited edition ones and the additional ones. So the idea is not to put these NFTs out and have them for like, thousands and thousands of dollars each, or hundreds of dollars each. We actually want to make it completely affordable for anyone to get involved in. And on top of that, because Fuzion XIO already has the all currency, multi-currency capability, we can actually sell them in any asset we would like, and we can sell them in multiple assets at the same time. We can even take in offers of multiple assets at the same time. So that capability we built years ago, and now we'll be able to actually utilize it ourselves. Incredibly beneficial for this program. So
I can actually get rid of all the rubbish coins in my wallet and buy one of these wicked little NFTs.
So what would happen is there is already an XRP MegaBits issuer address. We got it as a vanity address, so it was easily identifiable on the ledger. So you will know if you get an official XRP MegaBit NFT, it will have that as the issuer. It will be, I think it's called MegaBits off the top of my head. Yeah, it is MegaBits, 8 characters. So that is the official issuer. And yes, if we have the trust line on the issuer wallet active, then we will be able to take that currency in as a form of payment and offers as well. And it could be any asset on the XRP Ledger. So it's over 50,000 to date. And we're probably going to make a big thing about it. We'll reach out to a few people, to see, because we don't want to make enemies along the way. If anything, we want to make friends, and say, look, would you mind, we want to promote your asset and sell one of our NFTs in your asset. And if they was massively against it, then, we wouldn't do it because it's not how we roll. Although technically with the permissionless ledger, we could just do it anyway, but it's not really the way we do business. So yeah, any asset. So someone could actually say, look, I've got a load of this asset left over. I've got this much. So this is what it's worth. I would like to put in an offer, and we just add the trust line and then the offer can be put in. Any asset, even if an asset was made in the next minute as we're speaking, the minute that asset is made, it can be a tradable asset on Fuzion for NFTs.
Awesome. And if anyone wants to actually look at what Dan is actually talking about, you can see in the comments box, you can see the NFT figures, and they look pretty sick, I have to say. It reminds me a bit of the Pokemon generation, like the Pokemon cards, that kind of thing. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was the kind of style we was going for. And the NFT lab done a good job of that, actually. Obviously, not exact, but it was more of a genre kind of, this is the kind of style I want to go with, but it's not that. But yeah, we wanted that where it's sort of cute, cuddly characters. Some of them look a bit evil. Some of them look a bit fierce. There is metadata traits involved in these. So to add on, as the characters come out, there will be a use case for them. So I just spoke about a lot of what they are, but there is actually more. So there's a series of traits that are in the example one, and I'll be setting up to start with a small game where people would be able to play character against character, and I mean a very basic game to start with. And as it evolves, I plan to use XRP MegaBits. Depending on how well it goes as well, will depend on how much more we develop on it to utilize the NFTs as well. In terms of actually gaming, so because they're DNFTs, we can actually evolve them and then add them into more advanced ecosystems. Go on, sorry, mate.
Sorry, mate, I was talking. Is there any plan to evolve these figures? So are they going to be used for something like a game or something, or is that your long-term goal for it?
So there is a long-term goal for it. So I want the project itself to be completely self-sustainable. I don't want to launch the NFT project where it's like, burden where we have to pull value in from lots of different places to keep it going. So what I plan to do is promote it, release characters, have people collect them, and then over time, parts of that revenue will be used to then build out. I've already got a rough design of what to do with it. It's actually very similar to something we've done before, and then plug them into it where people can actually earn value by playing each character with each other, and then advance on that as the technology advances as well.
So pretty similar to the AvaDAP kind of.
It's in a way, but not. So with the Ava app is a lot more combat style. This is lesser than that. The AvaDAP is a hell of a lot more, you could just say technical, if you like, in terms of the way the NFT upgrades. These ones are not as technical in that sense, but there is similarities there, yeah.
Well, there are some apps out there where you have like a little pet that you feed it, and it, the pet grows in the app. You take the little doggy out, or the cat, or the lizard, or whatever pet you choose. So I guess maybe something like that, huh? Maybe.
Are you hoping, or are you asking?
Well, asking. I don't have that dab, but I'm just asking. But maybe you don't want to release it right now because that way it leaves you more leeway there.
So I'll emphasize it this would be a better way to put it. We can pretty much bend these to however we see fit would be the most beneficial. So there is a preliminary plan already. And that's fine. That'll be work. It will probably be a plugin with Fuzion, actually. But then if we wanted to do something like that, we absolutely could. We have the capability to do that. That would involve the DNFTs, evolving. So if you already own one, it would be able to evolve. Or there may be a process on that, which then means it's qualifies to be used in something like that. And that's what's so unique about the DNFT flag. It's probably the most, and I wouldn't even say it's arguably, it is without a doubt the most powerful protocol related to NFTs we've had since XLS 20. It really is. And anyone who's involved in the NFT ecosystem understands that. Now, for the public, obviously, there's a less technological view as to how this would all operate. But for anyone in the development circles, they completely understand that this is going to change the perception of NFTs 100%. They are no longer going to be marketed wrong, because NFTs have been marketed wrong, because the minute you say NFT, you think of artwork. Yeah, and that's fine. NFTs can be artwork. There's nothing wrong with that. But that's just how they started. So now they're about to evolve. And XLS 46 is a massive, massive upgrade onto how we do this. It massively relates to game finance. Massively. There's no better protocol for NFTs than XLS 46D. The minute I see it was on, I was incredibly excited. That's why we activated the AvaDAP developments again. Because now this is and you guys, I know you would have heard me say a few years ago, we need to wait for a network amendment to come on. I was like, okay, that sucks. Well, that's on now. So now we're able to design and tailor the Ava platform, the Ava app with this XLS protocol, because it is completely for game finance. And the XRP MegaBits is also that. The MegaBits is our signature NFT collection. Where it's going to go, I have no idea, but they are good. They are cute. They are cuddly. Some of them are less cute and cuddly, and they're limited. They are limited characters, and they can evolve. I'm excited to see where it's going to go. I think the characters look absolutely outstanding. Absolute hats off to the NFT lab for working so hard these past few months, because it has been months. He's been working on these, and it's good that we're finally going to get this out the door. So very, very exciting.
Well, you know what? That kind of actually does make it exciting. The fact that the sky's the limit, and it's kind of like the game of life. You just don't know what's going to happen tomorrow or the next days. It all depends on the ingenuity of the developers and the team. So yeah, I think that's pretty neat. Having just a shall we say, a framework to work from, and then just growing it from there. I mean, because I remember the Avas when they first came out, the AvaDAP wasn't anywhere near the picture. It wasn't anywhere, and now look at where we're at with the AvaDAP. So I can imagine, or I can't imagine where the megabits are going to be. Let's say 1 year and a half from now. I mean, it's so it has so much potential. So yeah, that's definitely
It
very
has a
exciting.
hell of a lot of positives aligned to it. Now, in the NFT space, especially for those who followed DPMF for years, and I brought this up earlier, we never actually fully launched an NFT program, which is sort of our signature move. We had the AVA program, which was a project, which was called XD3. It's actually the third project in design, XD1 being Fuzion. But you are right. With the AVA program, that's tailored to, some real combat ingenuity and, really involves, upgrading avatars. That's really an avatar heavy, kind of story, GameFi ecosystem. That's what it's going to be. That's not going to change. But with XRP MegaBits, the sort of world is our oyster here, where we can sort of bend and play with these and go in all kinds of different directions as we go forward. And we already have a lot of characters. So this isn't, like we started a few weeks ago and we're just, whacking out a few. There's already a hell of a lot of characters ready to deploy, going forward. And the way we use these characters, especially with the metadata traits, when we turn on the sort of game side where we use them, that's going to be interesting as well. You remember the stuff with the X Squad characters. Yeah, it's sort of a little bit similar to that. One thing, with NFTs, one thing I've always, sort of been interested in, because everyone looks at NFTs as the file. What's attached to that token? What's that file? What's that picture? And people really buy the image. And with us, I was like, I need to be able to use the code. And we've got, with the AVA program and XRP MegaBits, we'll be using the code, to enhance them. So it's not just going to be the way they look. And it is a very advanced way they look. I mean, there's not many. I think we're probably going to be the first to launch augmented reality viewing. I think we will be. I don't know if anyone else is doing it, so I apologize. But there's a lot of advancements in just the file alone and the platform they're going to be launched on. And once they launch on Fuzion, once someone buys them, they can be sold on another platform. They will be on Explorers, etc. They're not tied to just Fuzion. And there's usually a misconception there with that. It's not actually the case. We might be the only platform you can view them on. But as the years go by, more other platforms and explorers will adjust their code and you'll be able to do the same as well. But yeah, always been very interested in utilizing the code, because when you utilize the code, it means that you're not selling the NFT to make money. You're using the NFT to make money. And that's something that I'm very, very interested in doing. And I have been for years. Go on, Wes. Sorry, mate.
Yeah, sorry, I was just saying, so the XLS46, that's crucial then, because it allows us to upgrade the data afterwards. So like you say, you're utilizing the code. So any NFT, that's totally a different type of NFT where it's not static. That can change and grow over time. You can increase its properties and change them. And I think that's a great revolution in the GameFi trajectory of XRPL.
You're absolutely right. Only the issuer can apply changes to the NFT. So you will own it. But and when used on a platform, it would be signed through the issuer if there's an upgrade or an amendment or something like that. I was talking about this the other week. It might have been some of you guys where you remember years ago the burn flag on the XRPL. Do you remember there was a lot of panic that people who own an NFT with the burn flag, they were like, don't own that. The issuer can burn it. I never heard of an issuer burning a collection of NFTs after creating them. After I never heard it, but there was a massive thing about it has to be there has to be a symbol we need to know which ones are burnable. Keep in mind, dynamic NFTs can have the same capability. So a little bit of a security here and a bit of understanding that you could sell a collection of NFTs and then the issuer could actually issue them blank. So it's the same thing, but there's less panic about it this time. No one's that bothered. But something I've noticed, it can be done. So as a point to note for anyone who's interested in, is there a security risk in any way that you could lose the file or the data that's on there? Absolutely. So you should, with stuff like this, you want to get involved in trusted people. Absolutely. Because they could actually completely, and if they do that anyway, then it's pretty much a rug pull. But just as a little something I wanted to share, same as the burnable flag.
So if you don't like the actual investor that their wallet address, you can change your NFT to some sort of poo emoji or something.
Yeah. So if you owned a megabit and I went, do you know what? That Live Free has been really doing my head in recently. I'm going to give him a 3D poo emoji instead of his actual megabit. Yeah, you could actually do that. Not something that we have planned in the future. I swear to you, it would never happen.
But you never know.
But it could happen, yeah. Just as a little warning out there, it's a bit scary because people don't know this. And I think it's good to share this kind of knowledge. But yeah, I wouldn't poo emoji though, Live Free. I wouldn't do that to you, mate.
I don't know. I could piss people off sometimes. But anyway, I did want to add one thing about the designs of those, the megabits is that all our collaborating partners, actually will have their own XRP megabit designed for their project.
Yeah, that's correct.
So that's
correct. Yeah. So for example, OVO being one of them. OpenEgg. There is an OpenEgg XRP megabit design currently underway. There will be more. So when we partner with people, we will make one as a representation of them as a limited edition, tradable in their own native asset as well. We will be doing that.
It does remind me very much of, I'm not sure if you're aware of Training the Dragon, the films with the cartoon. It reminds me a bit like that, where perhaps these characters can evolve into like bigger dragons and have skills and stuff, and you can use them in some sort of game. Sounds like quite an interesting concept.
It is. I agree. It's a bit like an advanced Tamagotchi. Without we got to do is have the ecosystem and you've got it together. But all this is where the future is going in technology. So right now we're here today. It'd be like, this is really, futuristic stuff, or it's on the horizon as being really good stuff. In 15 years time, this would be the normal. So, where we stand going with that, it's kind of one of the reasons why I like to try and build out the complicated stuff first. To get everything aligned for the big bang of what we're doing. But, this is where we're going in the future is the bottom line of it. Going into like metaverse ecosystems, 3D ecosystems colliding with reality. This is all going to be the future. And these kind of files, these kind of NFTs have a place in that future. Because of the type they are, because of the file type they have a place in VR goggles. They have a place in these kind of already. These XRP megabits as statues can be placed in these ecosystems. Viewable in VR and AR, etc. And that's where it will be in the future. So these will have a timestamp attached to them as well, which could make them incredibly valuable in the future.
Daniel, I have a question about the AR capabilities. So kind of like in the movie Ready Player One, how you have these AR characters or AR viewable characters. How is it, or how can you design it, or how does it work if to differentiate, let's say, or can you create something like just like little tabletop animal? Or what if I wanted to create an animal, the size of a house? How can it be done? Obviously, within the metastructure?
Yeah, the simple answer is yes. You could have a file which is a whole house, the size of a house, which you'd have to probably be outside, but you could plot it down. Yeah. Yeah, you can choose the size. Yeah.
Would that create issues with the size of the file?
It depends how much detail and rendering you've got. It's a good question. Something I actually haven't personally tested. It's naturally going to be more. There's no doubt about that. But how much more, I wouldn't have an exact number. It would really depend on the design. It would depend on how much detail is in there. And what the file type is as well. Like FBX is naturally a higher megabyte than, GLB, for example.
Because I was thinking is maybe you can create a house to where all your collection of your megabits can be inside that house. Yeah. I don't know. I'm just
yeah, you could. So there's nothing stopping you creating a life-size AR digital object, of whatever it is, a statue, a house, a car. Whatever it is. And this kind of leans a little bit with what I was just talking about going in the future. I've seen some stuff, some of you might have read it as well, with the people wearing the glasses and seeing AR, objects through glasses. You would have even seen examples of it in movies where someone would walk into an empty room, put on some glasses, and then they can see a map, a digital map on a wall, a digital table, and even a digital screen, but you can't see all that unless you're wearing the glasses. That essentially is augmented reality. And it is something that would be completely possible in the future, yeah. I believe that's exactly where the world's going. It's just not, we don't shout off too much about it. There's not a lot going on in the world related to 3D NFTs. They have been done on other chains. Make no mistake. We're not the first to do it. But they're not that popular. But once you start utilizing them 3D objects, not just by them being visually sort of aesthetic in 3D ecosystems, or pulling them to 3D ecosystems where you can look at them and own them in your own, sort of metaverse complex or whatever. But when you start able to move them AR characters around and then have it interact with another AR character, that's where things really get interesting. And we've done some testing of this in 2022 of augmented reality characters interacting with each other, even so much so where they would look at the person holding the device and follow them around the room. I used to have little AR robots actually running around my living room years ago, through testing. That I see being very popular in the future. Definitely something up Web Street.
Yeah. I was going to say, is that similar to the tech that's used by the military, say for such as the Apache helicopters? They look, the turret moves, they use eye commands.
In the AH-64, yes, some of it, but keep in mind a lot of military tech is actually quite far behind. That's where most of their contracts are massively out of date. They're not as up to date as you might think. I don't know, some of the Americans I think are quite up to date actually. But I don't know if you know this, Wes, but actually, a lot of technology advancements actually come from the military. Did you know that?
Yes, I've thought always my regard for that is that the military are 10, 20 years ahead. Same with the tech companies, IBM, Microsoft, they're 10, 20 years ahead, but they filter down the technology to make the most amount of money by releasing it in, in lower forms.
That would be correct, yeah. There was a lot of shouting about AR technology after 2020, because there are a lot of devices were now implementing it. People were playing around with it in labs and stuff. But these kind of NFTs, and when I say these kind of NFTs, I don't just mean XRP MegaBits. I mean, even if anyone's creating them on Fuzion or any other NFT exchange in the XRPL of this file type, they will be completely compatible in the real world with AR, completely. And that will be years ahead. So what we're doing now is we're exploring this tech now. I believe there's a slight lack of hardware publicly where it's not as developed as it should be, but software is slightly ahead, so hardware needs to catch up, or some hardware anyway at least. But yeah, in years to come, all these kinds of NFTs, these new ones that we're releasing, and anyone else is looking to release, they will have a place in this sort of new, I don't want to say digital ecosystem because it's like a layer on reality, this new augmented ecosystem, you could say.
I know the feeling, Dan, when you say the hardware needs to catch up. The software's all right, but the hardware's no good. It
Well,
reminds me of my body at the
you would
moment.
say that. You got a Huawei phone. Right? No one has a Huawei phone.
No comment. I can't really respond to that. It
Mike,
really is
you
a
got
terrible phone.
Mike, you got a question? Put your hand down, mate. Open your mic.
There was, let me try and put my hand down. There we go. So I just was thinking about GPS capabilities. So, for example, say I wanted to place one of the megabits somewhere globally. Would that be possible? Would it be possible to place one somewhere?
Yeah, you're talking a bit about geotagging here. I don't want to talk too much on it because it's something I'm thinking about. I don't want to give.
Okay.
I don't want to give. But
we'll continue
I know what you're going
after.
at. So let's talk a little bit about that. You know, like, could you place your megabit somewhere and then geotag it for someone else to pick up? You know, stuff like that. Could we place them down for people in a city to find? You know, you could absolutely do that. Probably not so much now. It wouldn't be so popular. You'd all remember the what was it called? Pokemon Go application. Do you remember how bad it was to actually use it? Like, if you didn't have the most up to date device, even
People's in people's gardens.
yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. But the actual, the sort of how aesthetic it was and how visually pleasing it wasn't very. The sort of the view was there. There was a mission, you know, to get there, but it didn't have everything in place, and that was just mainly because of hardware. But a mix of hardware and software actually. But that kind of stuff will be coming back. I know there's an XRPL project here actually that does a little bit of that as well. All that kind of stuff will be coming back. And again, these kind of 3D files, these kind of 3D NFTs, they'll also have a place in that as well. But in relation to XRP MegaBits, I don't really want to say because I haven't knuckled it down. I have an idea, but not something solid.
Yeah, no, that was the question. That's great. But
You didn't sound very convincing there, Mike.
No, it just pinged up in my head. No, because I don't want to say anything else on it. But we'll talk after. But yeah, it was just something that came to me like a vision.
Well, one thing I like about 3D NFTs as well. So there was an argument years ago when people used to buy the JPEGs and the PNGs, you know, artwork, which I have nothing against. That's fine as NFTs. You know, people would say, "Oh, I'll just take a screenshot of it," and then what? You know, why do I need to buy that? Well, you can't take a screenshot of a 3D NFT when you own it. You know, you can visually move it around. You know, you do own the file. Yeah, and we can even apply it where you actually burn the NFT to take the file and then you could edit it yourself, you know, stuff like that. But yeah, you can't just take a screenshot of a 3D NFT and say, yeah, I own this, because you don't. But when you do own the NFT, you do own the file. And no one can, the way it can't be copied because of the issuer, you know, but no one can essentially copy it. Unless they have the file. But even then, because of blockchain technology, issuing on the network, issuing it as another issuer wouldn't be official if it come to that point, you know. And that's why we've got a vanity address for XRP MegaBits, which is the MegaBits vanity address, so everyone can easily identify they've got the official one if it's ever traded.
I'm having a mad moment, and I've just come up with something else in my head. Would there be a way, say for example, you were trying to level up other NFTs and they did evolve and you had a lower one, would there be like a lower grade one? Would there be a way to burn that one but take its points and all the levels that it's accumulated and attach it to another one, like a quick, like a sacrificial upgrade?
You mean this would be like a NFT splicing? Yeah, like you're blending points together.
A fusion. It's a fusion, Daniel. It's a fusion.
There you go.
Fusing two together. I mean, if someone...
Does that not...
Cool, mate.
Sorry. I was wondering whether that would interfere with the transferable fee. Has it got something to do with that? Would you have to burn it and remint it?
The only way that a DNFT on the XLS 46 protocol can be adjusted, it has to be authorized by the issuer. So let's say there's a series of megabits that are out there, and Mike is one of the best developers in the world. He's an absolute brain box, and he's built a platform. He's gone, right, I'm going to have it where I can now connect my wallet, view these NFTs, and I'm going to change their metadata. And then it comes to a point where it's like, oh, I have to sign to change this metadata. And that would have to be my authorization. So someone outside, and it's the same for everyone else, this is not just us, someone outside can't adjust metadata unless we was to build a platform or some kind of application that you connect to where it can be done. So it can only be done by the issuer. That's the same for every issuer related to any kind of DNFT. So if you wanted to do what Mike's saying there and splice the data, the metadata traits together, yeah, it could be done, but we would have to build it and then apply the issuer. What we could do is if someone else was to apply a platform that the megabits could run on, or even this is similar to the AVA program actually, we can then give authorization for someone else to allow, or we could apply authorization for someone else to do the metadata adjustment. It'd be quite rare, and for that, I've spoken to Live3. There is a project, there is a part of the AVA program that we might be able to have the capability to do that safely. Live3 might remember what I'm talking about. I won't bring it up here, but yeah, that's essentially how it'd be done. It has to be done by the issuer. Has to be.
So the burning killer question tonight then, Dan, is how much are these megabits going to set us back?
Oh, I don't. I've had many conversations.
He did say he didn't want to mention it right now.
I didn't want to mention money. All right.
This is what I'll say. I plan to make them completely affordable because I want people to collect them. I don't want to sell them at like fucking $15 each, $20 each, because it comes to a point where it's like, man, I'm spending thousands of dollars just to collect this collection. No, I have a target. I have an aim where I want to make it affordable for people to collect them. And it's a conversation I have with Live3 about the economics of it, because he has a sort of different view on it's not different in a bad way, but he has another projected view which would be more beneficial. So we'll talk about that, but my aim is to make it completely affordable. I don't want to say a number on here. I don't think I've talked about XRP MegaBits on the space before, have I? This is the first time. Yeah, so we haven't said it before. But no, I want to make them completely collectible. So much so where you buy one, it's like, well, I know this is worth more, so it's easily tradable as well, if you ever want to trade it.
So would there be the provision on Fuzion to be able to do an exchange of NFTs? So if I wanted your megabits and you wanted mine, could we trade them on Fuzion?
As in do a direct swap?
Yeah.
Not something I'm actually looking at the moment. It's not in the program, but not in the program for this year. But definitely something to consider. I'd have to look at the possibilities of that. I have heard whispers in the wind that there is a way to do it, which would probably likely involve a central entity acting as a sort of middleman for a small short period. Excuse me. But not something we have in the pipeline yet, but definitely a consideration. If it's wanted in demand, yeah.
Because that would be an awesome feature to be able to swap cards or swap NFTs
It would be, especially if you own multiple of the same one, because you couldn't get hold of another one. And it was like, hey, look, I've got, Draco bit. I'd like such and such bit. Would you be willing to swap? I've got a load of them and you've got two. Absolutely. I can see there being a use case for it, completely, but not something I've got in the pipeline.
Oh, what might be fun would be to have like maybe once all these roll out, maybe have one show specifically created as some sort of swap meet. And, everybody can come up and speak and say, hey man, I got this one. Who wants to, so just have a fun show.
You have to be very careful with that though, because you might send someone one and then they bugger off.
Yeah, that is a situation. Yes. Maybe, like you said, maybe we would have to have some sort of central wallet. All right. these two guys wanted everybody send them to me, and I will switch them out for you at the same time.
What
Kind of
if
deal,
you run off with all of them?
That's exactly what I mean by you'd have to have a middleman of some sort. That's exactly what I mean.
Well, I could. I mean, it all depends. If it's a very good one, you might never see me ever again. I'll give up everything for a $5 XRP, for a $5 NFT.
You'll be having brisket barbecues for the rest of the year.
I will add this quickly before I forget. So there will be special edition ones which will be of high value. There will be special edition ones of high value, without a doubt. But if you are to collect, certain amounts at certain milestone periods, then you earn one of them, if you like, to then sell at whichever price you like. So there will be limited edition kind of higher price ones. Don't get me wrong. I just wanted to add that bit in. So I know we spoke about it the other day, didn't we?
Yeah, I was just gonna ask. Okay, so let's say I am very proficient at getting every single one, and I remember you mentioned that there might be a reward if you have the full collection, or if you have 5 out of the 30, or if you have 10 out of the 30, or if you have 30 out of the 30.
That's right, yeah. So ideally, at the moment, so it's not set in stone yet, but I will make sure it's on the website when it goes. Ideally, it's going to look like if you own the same collection number of each one. So if you own all number 7s, if you own all number 18s, if you own all number 54s, whichever one it is, if you own one of each, from each batch of characters, then you would be given the limited edition one of that number. It is looking like how it's going to be. I haven't got that set in stone yet. But it's likely that's how it's going to be. So the special edition ones will go for a high value, and then you can earn them, by being a collector.
As a complete side change of conversation, I know we're talking
Go on. Go on.
I think Wes has done a usual on us. Have you seen the price of Flare just now? Wes, have you been buying Flare while we've been talking?
What's happened to it?
It's up like 6% last half an hour.
I've missed it. I only buy when it goes up 10, at least 10%.
You buy some more Trump coin, mate. You go and buy it. Keep accumulating that.
Stay away from it.
You can't buy it anymore. They stopped selling it.
So I think I covered enough on there. I think I covered quite a lot. If anyone actually wants to see what they look like, there is, I think, the example. Let me just check on the Jumbotron, make sure. There's a preview on the Jumbotron above. It'll say DracoBit preview. So you can get to see what it looks like. You can actually go onto the website there. That one isn't minted. It's prepared to mint. So you can go and view it, and you'll see exactly what these kind of megabits are going to look like. You can zoom in, zoom around it, and see how it looks. So that's there as a preview. So if anyone's wondering, what the hell are these going to look like, there is one up there in the Jumbotron down as the DracoBit preview. So feel free to have a look at your own leisure.
Cool.
If anyone has questions for Dan, please put your hand up and we'll get you up to the mic. Or put some comments in the comments box, or you can either email us and we'll discuss it after the show and have a chat maybe next week. We're here every Sunday night, 8:00. So yeah, tune in and go to the YouTube channel, share the spaces. We love you to all to be involved. Live free. I think, do you want to wrap it up?
Sure, absolutely. Let's finish the show up. We're going to finish with a little poem by NSCV. It's called Acrostic Bits. From the fragments unknown, they crafted me. Masterful chaos, a realm that forged my day. Primordial abyss, a riddle before my creation. Destructive creativity, my soul's dynamic motion. Delight thy heart be, for the chain of eternal freedom I bring. No longer bathed in lakes of fixation, for freedom is a song I sing. Fear not the shackles and chains, for I am a key to eternity. Take the bare beauty of adaptability that dances freely. Mastery is within those that planted seeds of innovation. Endlessly, their souls drip with saps of creative passion. Grand are spirits that sing the songs of melodic tomorrow. Access to infinite movement will allow the artistic flower to grow. Boundless is the chain that frees the creators of today. Inventiveness is the block that gives light to tomorrow's way. Tales of utility and rarity, a river of serenely chaotic fusion, systems of complexity, an endless sea to sail for the next generation. Acrostic Bits by NSCV. This show was sponsored by FuzionXIO.com, a premier permissionless NFT platform where you can mint and sell NFTs in any of the over 54,000 coins on the XRPL. We now have the capability to see 3D and augmented reality NFTs and to mint the new dynamic NFTs, and soon to be where you need to go get the future YEM Part 1 and 2 rewards. The current YEM Infinity reward went out today, so check your wallets. Remember, to be able to unlock the yield earning mechanism, you will need to own at least one XIO, and the amount of YEM Infinity reward depends on the amount of XDX you own. Thank you for joining us today and learning about DPMF's newest project, XRP MegaBits. If you have any questions, please reach out to us in Telegram, chat room, and also follow all the speakers here. Please don't take anything we say as financial advice. Beware of flair. Not just kidding. Do your own research. With that said, we bid you farewell and hope you join us again next week for another deep dive into the blockchain world. This show is recorded, so if you missed a part of it, you can go back and listen to the show. Please share and have a beautiful day, people. Bye-bye. Any final words on Flair?
No final words on Flair, but one big shout out to Raylene, who does the YouTube channel. She does a fantastic job. I wasn't sure if it was put out earlier, so just want to say that. And I see Digital Asset guys down there. Don't worry, I can see you, and I'm calling you after this. I know you've been waiting for me.
All right, guys, have a beautiful day, and we'll see you all again next week with another scintillating show.
Take care.
Goodbye.
Take care, guys.